During a difficult hearing, a little girl on the stand signals her dog for help. The white boxer reacts immediately. The judge asks the child if she wants a short break, but the girl and the dog make for an amazing team, and the whole courtroom holds its breath as she speaks. The courtroom was spacious and noisy, and little Hannah was nervous. Her parents were right behind her, and she tried to breathe slowly. She was still unsure of the reason why she had been summoned, as her father had told her a few days earlier. She only knew that it had all started 2 weeks ago, the day she had found herself face to face with a stranger who had invited her to jump in his black van. He had puppies on board, he told her. As much as the prospect of petting puppies made her stomach flutter, Hannah knew she couldn't accept the stranger's offer. Her parents had told her time after time, never follow someone you don't know. When the man had tried to grab her anyway, a passerby had stepped in, screaming so loudly that the stranger had locked the door of his van and sped away. Later that day, her parents had explained to her what CCTV cameras were and how they had been crucial in helping the police find the stranger in the van. Apparently, she wasn't the first child he had invited on board, but she was one of the few who had escaped his clutches unharmed. And now, people wanted her to recount their meeting in court, where a man holding a gavel would decide how many years the stranger would spend in prison. Now, in the solemn courtroom, Hannah stood before the judge, her small frame barely visible above the witness box. The atmosphere was tense, charged with the anticipation of her testimony. As she walked into the witness stand, the eyes of the courtroom fixated on her, some inquisitive, some judgmental. She could feel the stares of grown-up faces on her, some curious, some stern, none quite like the kind eyes she was used to. Lost in a sea of adult faces, little Hannah couldn't shake off the overwhelming feeling of being out of place, a mere child caught in the complexities of the grown-up world. To be honest, she didn't even understand why a man with puppies in his van had to go to prison. The reality of the courtroom was far more confusing than she had imagined. She was just a little girl, unprepared for the scrutiny of the legal arena, where every word carried significant weight. The clash between her innocence and the harsh reality of the situation in the courtroom was intense. Despite feeling uneasy, she found the strength to recount the man's actions and words. Her mom and dad had told her that the stranger was mean, and she believed them. They were grown-ups, and they knew better, even if she herself didn't understand what the fuss was about. To be honest, the adults crying at the back of the room were more than a little disturbing. A man her parents had called her lawyer had told her to focus on the judge and ignore everyone else as she spoke. But halfway through her story, she caught sight of a familiar figure that shattered all her confidence. In the midst of the courtroom proceedings, Hannah's anxiety had clouded her awareness, making her oblivious to the fact that the man who had tried to grab her was present. Now, as she stood in the witness stand, her eyes scanned the room, and a sudden realization struck her like a bolt of lightning. There, standing opposite her, was the very person who had offered to show her his puppies. The weight of the moment bore down on her small shoulders, and a surge of guilt gripped her heart. Did she really want to send this man to prison? Time seemed to slow as Hannah's eyes locked onto the man. His presence was unsettling, to say the least. Her guilt transformed into a paralyzing force, freezing her in place. The courtroom, once a backdrop to her determination in her quest for justice, had now become an intimidating setting. The man's stare was cold and steady, making her feel even more anxious. It left her stuck in the middle of her own vulnerability, caught in a tense moment. But just when she was about to give up, wishing that by some magic she would just teleport back home to her cozy room, something unexpected happened. The silence was disrupted when the heavy courtroom doors creaked open. A collective gasp swept through the room, and all eyes turned towards the unexpected entrance. The hush fell over the courtroom as a majestic figure strolled in, capturing the attention of everyone present. The newcomer was no ordinary visitor. It was a dog, walking with purpose and determination. The courtroom, which was usually a space of order and regulation, now witnessed an unexpected interruption. The dog's entrance brought a momentary pause to the proceedings, creating a shift in the atmosphere. The judge, jurors, and spectators all redirected their focus towards this unanticipated guest, wondering what had prompted this unusual intrusion. The friendly canine went directly towards Hannah. In the midst of the tension, the dog exuded an air of calm and reassurance. It was as if the universe had orchestrated this interruption to offer a respite to the overwhelmed little girl standing on the brink of surrender. The dog, a white boxer breed named Carl, stopped beside Hannah. Its eyes met hers, and a silent understanding seemed to pass between them. Hannah, initially frozen by fear, felt a surge of confidence as Carl nestled beside her. The dog's big stature and comforting presence created a shield, making her feel secure in the daunting environment of the courtroom. In that moment, as she tentatively stroked Carl's body, a bond formed between them, an unspoken fact that she was not alone in her fight for justice. The unexpected visitor in the courtroom was not just any dog, he was a therapy dog, trained to assist children in the juvenile courtroom. However, Carl had a condition which made him far more special than any average therapy dog. He was deaf, but this was not a limitation. He was a 5-year-old white boxer, trained in American Sign Language, not for adults, but specifically for children like Hannah, who found themselves testifying in difficult cases. Carl was part of the Companions for Courage campaign, a program that brought canine circuit dogs into courtrooms to provide support for young witnesses. These dogs were unique, offering a sense of protection and comfort to children navigating the challenges of the legal system. As Hannah found the courage to proceed with testifying, it became clear that Carl's uniqueness extended beyond his role as a therapy dog. His deafness, a crucial asset in his line of work, set him apart. Carl couldn't react to the noises in the courtroom, allowing him to maintain an unwavering focus on comforting and supporting her. His deafness was not a limitation, but rather a strength that allowed him to fulfill his role with exceptional sensitivity. Training Carl to become a therapy dog had been no small feat. Joanne Hart Rittenhouse, Carl's dedicated trainer, had previously helped 3 boxers transition into therapy dogs, but Carl presented a unique challenge. He was Joanne's first deaf trainee and required an entirely different approach to his training. Undeterred by the unconventional challenge, Joanne embraced the opportunity to train Carl in a way that would harness his unique qualities. She recognized that his inability to hear commands could be turned into an asset. Carl's training became a journey of creativity and adaptation, where Joanne's expertise as a dog trainer was put to the test. In the process of training Carl, Joanne devised a creative solution to bridge the communication gap caused by his deafness. Recognizing the need for a specialized approach, she decided to teach Carl American Sign Language. Through this visual language, Joanne could effectively convey commands to Carl, enabling him to understand and respond appropriately. The boxer had found his purpose in life, and she couldn't be prouder of him, especially because his journey in life had started with a huge question mark pending over his little head. It had all begun with a call that Joanne Hart Rittenhouse received from a breeder a long time ago. The breeder, faced with a little deaf puppy only 3 weeks old, found themselves in a predicament. Unsure of what to do with a deaf pup, they contemplated the drastic measure of putting Carl to sleep. However, a change of heart led them to remember Joanne, a compassionate dog lover who had previously rescued 3 boxer dogs. Recognizing Joanne's dedication to canine welfare, the breeder decided to reach out to her rather than taking such a drastic step. When Joanne received the call informing her of the breeder's initial intentions to euthanize Carl due to his deafness, she was deeply saddened, unable to fathom such an outcome under her watch. She swiftly made the decision to take in the puppy. She believed that Carl's deaf condition was not a reason to end his life. Instead, she saw an opportunity to provide him, integrating him into the K9 program, where his unique qualities could make a positive impact. With the support of a behaviorist friend, Joanne embarked on the journey of teaching Carl. Since a young age, she chose to teach him American Sign Language, a decision influenced by her involvement with the National Deaf Academy. Despite Carl's deafness, Joanne believed in his ability to learn and adapt. The training sessions became a collaborative effort, with Joanne and Carl forming a bond rooted in trust and understanding. As time progressed, Carl began to exhibit signs of functionality despite his condition. His intelligence and eagerness to learn became apparent, and Joanne saw glimpses of something truly special in him. Slowly and consistently, Carl mastered 10 signs, showcasing an impressive capacity for communication. His proficiency in American Sign Language grew, reaching an astonishing repertoire of over 100 signs, a testament to his intelligence and Joanne's patient, dedicated guidance. Carl's journey extended beyond mere training. He proved to be exceptional with children. His visits to the DEA Academy revealed a deep connection with special needs children, drawing him to those with disabilities like his own. The calming effect Carl had on the children became evident, and his presence brought a sense of comfort and joy to those who needed it most. While all therapy dogs undergo special training and must be registered through a therapy dog group, not all of them are suited for the unique demands of a courthouse setting. To become a functional courthouse therapy dog, canines have to exhibit extraordinary resilience and adaptability. They are required to navigate through an environment filled with noise and numerous activities, remaining composed and focused throughout. The challenges these dogs face are considerable, demanding a level of composure that sets them apart from their counterparts. In Carl's case, his deafness turned out to be a surprising asset for the job. The typical courtroom environment, often filled with unpredictable noises and distractions, posed no threat to Carl's focus. Unfazed by the hustle and bustle, his ability to remain calm and attentive became a distinct advantage. Moreover, Carl's substantial size added another layer to his suitability for the role. His stature provided a reassuring presence, making him stand out among therapy dogs as an ideal candidate for the demanding job in the courthouse. Carl's attributes became particularly crucial in Hannah's case. As soon as Carl displayed his affectionate and friendly demeanor, Hannah felt a newfound sense of security. In moments of discomfort, Carl would gently place his paws on her, locking eyes as if to convey a silent message, encouraging her, reassuring her that she was doing well and everything would be okay. In the midst of Hannah's testimony, the judge had initially contemplated halting the proceedings to allow her a break. However, with the dog's entrance, his perspective shifted. With Carl by her side as an emotional support, Hannah found the courage to give a detailed account of her testimony. When it came time to answer questions from the stranger's lawyer, Hannah had been prepared by her own lawyer, but when the man asked her if she truly thought that the stranger in the van was a mean person, she found herself lost for words. Her parents had explained to her that the man had lied when he mentioned puppies. He only wanted her to climb into his van so he could take her away forever. That's why the other adults in the room were crying. Their children had jumped in the van without hesitation, excited at the thought of petting cute doggies, and had never come home. She didn't know where the stranger had brought them, and wasn't sure she ever wanted to know. Something inside her told her it was a really scary place, one she didn't even want to think about. When the lawyer pressed her, little Hannah froze. She was old enough to know what prison meant, and she didn't really want the stranger to end up there. But she also understood that the safety of other children depended on her. She just needed to find the courage to tell the lawyer that his client was a liar, and that made him mean. But the courage was nowhere to be found. Both the stranger and his lawyer were looking at her as if they fully expected her to stumble on her words and make a mistake, and she was scared. In a moment of vulnerability, she quickly signed to Carl, who responded by coming to sit by her side. She had only met the dog once before and knew that his presence would bring her the comfort and security necessary to face the daunting task ahead. As soon as the dog reacted, putting his front paws on her knees, the judge cleared his throat. Hannah's parents had told her that the courtroom was a solemn place where games and jokes were not allowed, and she was worried that she had angered the judge with her request for help. She turned to look at him, but he was watching her with a gentle smile. "If you need some more time to think, we can stop for a while," he said. Around them, silence fell as everyone in the room waited for her reply. Hannah would have loved a break, but she also knew that if she stopped now, this ordeal would go on far longer than she could stomach. So she shook her head as she ran her fingers along Carl's fur, drawing strength from the connection. The young girl found the courage to speak her truth. With Carl by her side, she testified with newfound strength, successfully navigating the entire trial without problems. Once filled with tension and uncertainty, the courtroom now witnessed a transformative moment. Hannah's resilience, coupled with Carl's comforting presence, led to a breakthrough. The fight for justice reached its climax as the man who had wronged her was found guilty and charged according to the law. Hannah's case was just one of the instances where Carl displayed his remarkable support, security, and companionship attributes in juvenile courts. Other children, much like Hannah, believed they had a super-secret code with Carl. This special bond allowed them to call him to their side, providing a source of comfort and reassurance. Carl's presence saved the day on many occasions, making therapy dogs in courtrooms highly encouraged, especially for young victims who must testify. Everyone expected Carl to receive praise from his owner, but no one expected what happened immediately after the trial. The story of Carl, Hannah, and his remarkable support for the young girl spread like wildfire online, reaching millions of people worldwide. The heartwarming tale resonated with people everywhere, and the spotlight on Carl brought newfound awareness to the Canine Circuit program. The positive impact of therapy dogs like Carl in providing support and comfort to children during trials became a widely celebrated concept. After the trials were concluded, Carl continued his invaluable role, offering ongoing support to the children who testified. Contrary to expectations, he didn't fade into the background once the courtroom proceedings were over. He remained a constant presence in the lives of these young individuals, extending his support beyond the courtroom into their everyday experiences. Unaware of the global recognition he garnered, Carl continued his journey through life, faithfully fulfilling his role as a therapy dog. His disability didn't hinder his ability to provide comfort and companionship. He approached each day with the same dedication, proving that even with limitations, one could still make a profound impact. As Carl and Hannah's story continued to trend online, the spotlight not only remained on them, but extended to the entire team of therapy dogs, each with its unique qualities and contributions. The collective impact of these canines showcased the importance of therapy dogs in various settings, not just limited to courtrooms. Suddenly, thousands of people around the world started calling for therapy dogs in all fields, firmly believing in their usefulness. New training programs were implemented, and many more dogs in need of a purpose in life found themselves bringing solace to adults and children alike. As the programs flourished over the years, the number of therapy dogs increased, allowing them to reach and help more people than ever before. Carl, being one of the pioneers, paved the way for other programs across the nation to provide assistance to children who must testify. His impact echoed far beyond the confines of a single courtroom, becoming a beacon for other communities seeking to implement similar initiatives. In a profound sense, the triumph over injustice was made possible, in no small part, thanks to one deaf therapy dog named Carl. His presence, alongside the collective efforts of the therapy dog program, became a symbol of resilience, support, and justice for those who needed it the most. What a heartwarming story! Have you ever found solace and support in a pet animal? Share your experiences with us in the comment section below. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.